Thanks for joining me. I hope you're well. Now, today, it's been an awful day here. Well, I say awful, it hasn't been raining, but they promised us beautiful sunshine, and we've had grey and a bit murky really. Completely different to yesterday on the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, so I'm really grateful how that went. More of that in a second. But it's brightened up now this evening, so I thought, right, I'll go for a little tickle out and say a few thank yous for yesterday, tell you a little story that my mate reminded me of, which I thought was quite amusing, and we'll have a few of your pictures towards the end. So the first thing I've got to say is, and just forgive me, but I'd be neglecting my duties, I really would, if I didn't say thank you to all the people who supported me on the DGR, which took place yesterday. You'll know that it took place yesterday all over the world. Our local ride was in Stoke-on-Trent, and I didn't really decide that I was going until quite late on Wednesday evening, so I put that little video out asking people if they could give us a few quid towards the cause and see where it went. I set an initial target of just £100, and I'd have been very happy with that, but in the end, thanks to your generosity, to your really overwhelming support in such a short period of time, we actually raised, I say we, it wasn't me, we raised £350, which is a marvellous amount from subscribers, from a few friends, a few relatives, so a big heartfelt thank you for that, and I'm sure that money will do a lot of good moving forward. Now, our local area, our particular ride, had a target of £8,000, and when I looked just before I came out on this ride, we collectively made near £12,000, so we exceeded the target that was set for our area, which is marvellous again. So big thanks to everybody who contributed, marvellous cause. We had a marvellous day, couldn't have gone any better. What a beautiful day we had to be riding around in shirt sleeves and jackets and cravats and ties. I did put a little vid on, I hope you've seen it. We've summed it up in 15 minutes, I hope. Okay, just a quick couple of mentions as far as the DGR is concerned, and then I've finished, I promise. First one goes to Michael in Swansea. Now, on a previous vid, you might remember me telling you that I'd broken my seat frame. I'd got a bolt had sheared off, and I'd had to take my rear seat off and the top box as a result of that. And I was contacted after the vid to say by I presume he's a subscriber, I'm not sure, I presume he's a subscriber, and I just wanted to say thank you to Michael, because he reached out and he said, I've got a seat frame you can have, I don't want it. He said, I've got no intention of carrying a pillion, so give us your address and I'll send it you. I mean, how brilliant's that? I thought that was a fantastic touch. So, but I couldn't, obviously, I can't accept something like that for nothing, because I was quite prepared to pay whatever I had to pay to get one, because I do need my back seat and my top box on. So I said, so anyway, I won't tell you the figures, but I made him an offer. And he kindly said, well, I'll tell you what about, I'll accept your offer and I'll post you the seat frame, which has arrived, Michael, and it's on now, doing a treat. He says, donate it towards your fund. So I thought, what a lovely touch that is. So I put the money in the fund, but I just wanted to say a special thank you to Michael in Swansea. It has arrived safe, mate, and I thought it was a marvellous gesture, so thank you for that. And the second and the last thing I'm going to mention about the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride is Morgan in Spain. Now, he sent me a couple of pictures which I'll just pop up, but Morgan went to his local Distinguished Gentleman Ride, but it wasn't local, it wasn't dead local. I was lucky enough travelling just a few miles up the road from me, and he had to travel some distance, setting off quite early. I seem to remember he said he froze himself to death on this bike, going on his red Classic, going to the ride. He said, but he got heated grips on his bike, so that helped a little bit. But He said the weather forecast, now bear in mind we're in northeast Spain, above Barcelona, somewhere there. And they got to the ride, and there was about 80 of them, and off they went on the ride. And about the halfway point in a little village where coincidentally they were holding some sort of fiesta, there was all vintage cars and stuff like that, but the heavens opened, didn't they? And it absolutely bucketed it down. Now, I have to admit, you know, Morgan, we're in the UK, and normally it's a role reversal, isn't it, eh? Normally, the boot's on the other foot, and normally over here it's a Wellington boot, isn't it? So I had to smile, thinking what glorious weather broke for us yesterday, and you, with it bouncing down with rain, in Spain, and apparently it's not mainly on the plane. But no, it tickled me, that did, Morgan, so thanks for sharing that. He said he'd got his jacket on, he said he'd got his best white shirt on, but he bought a cheap dicky bow for the job. And he says the water was running down his dicky bow, and now his best white shirt, it's stained pink on the front where it was running off his cheapo dicky bow. So that's fantastic. And he said it was raining that bad. At one point he thought he saw a portly bloke shepherding animals 2 by 2 into a barge. I thought that was fantastic. Absolutely great. So thanks for sharing that, Morgan. It just shows that this must have been one of the rare occasions when we could beat you for the weather. So now, but I imagine normal service has been resumed now, and you're baking hot, and we're expecting showers tomorrow. But thank you for sharing. Now, here's a little story for you that might make you smile. We're going back a long time now. I was out with my mate, and we're in the curry house, and we'd had a beer or two, and you know, the beer was flowing, and so were our mouths, frankly, and we were reminiscing like you do. And I don't know how we got on the subject, but we brought up this fella that we used to know, and I said, oh yeah, I remember him, what's he doing now? And he got a brother, and you know, he was one of the gang when we were kids, and we were just talking about him. And he said, do you remember him? I won't say his name. I said, yeah, of course I did. But I couldn't remember. When he was telling me, it was coming back to me. But he had to tell me for it to come back. I didn't instantly leap in my brain. But he said, apparently what he did, this lad anyway, right, he got his bike. It was either he'd probably got a moped or a small capacity bike. I'm guessing it was below 250. And it was on its main stand outside the kitchen door, and he was oiling the chain. Now, what do we do? Some of us still do it. What do? We put it on its main stand and we put it in first gear, don't we? Let the clutch out and oil the chain. Now I know people are coming, no, you mustn't do that, but you know, that's what, well, I still do it now. Anyway, so there he was oiling his chain. And somehow or other, and don't ask me how he did it, he gets his finger between the chain and the back sprocket, doesn't he? Yeah, you know what a mess that's going to cause. So now, his finger, he gets it in, obviously he's trying to pull it out, he must have done a revolution, you know, it's gone halfway round and then he's managed to pull his finger out. But now his finger's hanging off and there's blood going everywhere. His finger's hanging off, blood going everywhere. So he goes in the house, doesn't he, to his mum. Now, his mum, terrified of blood. Oh, she's terrible with blood. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So he runs in, shouting, Mum, Mum, look! Now his finger's hanging off and it's gushing with blood. And what does she do? Does she ring? No. What she does is she collapses. She faints. So here was some help, wasn't it? So her's fainted on the floor now. He's trying to bring her round, can't bring her round. So what's he doing now? He's ringing an ambulance for his mum. And he's the one with the injury. So while he's waiting for the ambulance to come, he's trying as best as he can bandage his finger up and keep it in, you know, keep it in situ. And he's Oh, little Citroen Diane. I do like me 2 CVs. Oh, that's a pothole. That was a lump. Anyway, I'm off again, aren't I? So, he rings the ambulance for his mum, but before the ambulance gets round, she starts to come round a bit, and by now he's bandaged it up sufficiently to stop the bleeding. It's still hanging off, mind you, and he ends up making her a cup of tea. And I just thought it was hilarious. I know it doesn't sound quite so hilarious now, but you get the drift. You know, when you've had a pint, it sounds hilarious, doesn't it? But, yeah, so he called the ambulance for his mum, who'd collapsed because of the blood, and he had to stitch himself up till the ambulance arrived, and when they arrived, apparently he was making a cup of tea for her. I thought that was hilarious, and it's all come flooding back to me. Yeah, I remember it well after, you know, once you started getting into the meat of the story, I did remember it. Hey, the tales that we've got, eh? I don't know how his finger is now, so if you see a bloke with you know, his big fingers on an angle, it's probably him. Now, we'll just do a few of the photos because we're coming up to the photograph competition at the end of the month. So I'll just get a few more on. Now my first one's from Martin, and he's local, he's round here. In fact, yeah, he's got his orange Interceptor Candy Crush outside the Yew Tree pub at Calden Low. Yeah, I know that very well, Martin. I know the bike very well. Well, I don't know that particular bike, but I know an Interceptor, and I know the Yew Tree pub for sure. I haven't been in there for years. Right, I'll just let him go because he's hassling me. Next we've got Brian, and he's in Powys somewhere, and he's got this Stealth Black Classic 350. It looks like he's by a dam, and he's got it strategically placed. Nice picture there of him in the forest. So that was Brian. And Mark's tickling about down south somewhere. He sent me an email about it. He's got I can't remember what he's got. What's he got? Classic 350, is it? I'll tell you what, hang on a minute, I'll have a look at my notes. I'll bring you back in a sec. Right, let's have a look. Hang on a minute. Oh my goodness me, one day I'll get organised. Mark, Sydenham Hill. Oh, that's it, Mars Bar Classic. Halcyon Black. Tickling around down south. Now he reckons, oh, he's got one of them, you know, with them single-sided panniers, the ammo box type thing that Royal Enfield do for these classics, just you get one for just one side. He's got one of them, he says he loves it, puts his sandwiches in it and that, and it's a great piece of kit. And we got another one from Martin, and he's got, I think Martin's got his own channel. Is it Moreland's Rider or something like that? I'll tell you what, I'll put it on screen if I can find it. He contacted, I'm sure he's got a YouTube channel, tickling about like this, and his Himalayans at the Roaches. And then we've got, I might as well do these while I'm at a standstill. We've got Robert. He's English, he's a British, he's in southern Thailand, and he's got his monkey bike here, and he's got if you look in the background of this monkey bike, there's some monkeys, and he says in the morning all the monkeys come out of the trees, and the locals feed them, which is great, isn't it? You think they'd be shoving them off with broomsticks, wouldn't you? You'd think they wouldn't want them, but now they feed them and they encourage them, which is lovely, isn't it, if you're an animal lover. And if you look in the background, there's a monkey eating some mango that somebody's left for him. That's brilliant. He says in the morning it's like Piccadilly Circus. And I was telling Robert that when we went across to France and Switzerland and that on a bikes a few years ago on my pan, there was 2 monkey bikes at the Channel Tunnel. These lads were touring on monkey bikes. I think they were going to Switzerland somewhere as well. And they'd come down from Durham. So they come from Durham to the Channel Tunnel on monkey bikes, and they were going down to Switzerland on them. And I took a pic standing by these. I'll see if I can find it and I'll pop it on. And then we've got Peter, my old mate Peter. We've been having a few chats recently, and he has sent a picture of his scooter, and in the distance, he's in France, and in the distance you can just see Mont Saint-Michel, and he said something about his scooter's got to go in soon for a 4-year check over. I don't know what that is. It must be like the MOT or something like that. But he did say they haven't got enough people doing them just yet. They aren't trained up sufficiently. So whether he's got a pass until they can get some operatives to do it, I don't know. But that is Peter Hollande, Monsieur Hollande, in La Belle France. Now then, there was one more. I've got my thingy. I'm trying to read it. This isn't very good. I'm reading it along. Andy. Now then, I think you sent this to the wrong channel, mate. Andy's got a GT750, which I never had one. I always fancied one, because when you're kids you do, don't you? You know, we had the 250s, and we thought like 750s were exotic for the big, proper bikers, and the Kawasaki 900. Whoa! You had to have so much money to have one of them. Things probably still haven't changed actually, but he sent me a picture of his GT750, a couple of pics. One's by I think he's in North Lincolnshire, and he's at some RAF base or something. And one of them's on the wall there. There's a mural of a bomber. Is that Halifax or Lancaster? I don't know. What would I know? I was in the Royal Navy, I was. But that's a bit of a joke round here, because I only lasted 3 months. And when I tell people, I know lads who were in the army for 20 years, and I say, what's up, couldn't you get in the Navy? Wouldn't they have you? Were you too thick? That's what I say, just winding them up. I keep saying, senior service Royal Navy, yes, not like the army. And he says, I'll get the rib taken out of me. I was in for 3 months, and then I come out for a woman. Yeah, man, I'm still with her now 40 years later. Tell you what, I should have stayed in. No, don't say that, you gotta say that. No, she might be listening. So he sent me this picture, but what I was going to say was, he's got a picture here of his bike by a giraffe. Now, some of you will know where I'm going with this. The all-year motorcyclist in the deepest, darkest Suffolk down there. He's the giraffe man. He's the one you send your giraffe pictures to. So if you see a giraffe anywhere, send them in. No, lovely fella down there. If you haven't seen his channel, just have a look at Tame, the all-year motorcyclist. And what he does. I must admit, I confess, I'm a bit of a Tame fan, and he tickles about and mutters and mumbles to himself like we do, like I do as well. But he's got a giraffe. I think when he goes work in the morning, he talks to this giraffe every morning as he goes past on his bike. Yeah, so I'm not the only one, am I? I'm not the only one that's gone a bit, not completely right. There's more than one of us. So, but that's marvellous. Quick shout out to Tame, and a quick shout out to him because he helped me. I recently had I'm hoping I've cured it now. I'm hoping my microphone is better now, that you can hear me better, because it went awful. And I reached out to him, and he answered me almost straight away. I thought it was marvellous to give me some advice about my microphone, which was gratefully received. And with any luck, he actually did a vlog on it, which he pointed me to, and a very good vlog on about his vlogging kit and what he does is, because this motorcycling vlogging, it is a harsh environment for microphones with engine noise and wind and talking and that. And yeah, it's on the house. So thank you very much, mate. I do appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to leave that one there now. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for having a look. I hope you found something of interest. If you have, please feel free to like and comment and subscribe and all that good stuff. If you haven't already subscribed, subscribing really does help the channel. If you're not already subscribed, that would be marvellous. I would appreciate it if you did. In the meantime, send any photographs or any comments or anything you've got. You can either comment below or send them to me direct. shottostravels@gmail.com. Make sure you ride safe. Watch out for these lunatic drivers and the crazy potholes that are about. And with any luck, I'll see you on the next one. So take care of yourselves. Like I've said before, it's summertime now, so if we don't get out now, we never will. You know, we're stuck in for 6 months at least over winter, the dirty, grey, horrible winter that we get. So get out on your bike and enjoy them. And thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon. Bye.